Blessings and peace, and welcome to the Ice Turner experience. Something that you can't explain, you can only experience. You know, one of the hardest things for an introvert to do is not necessarily to blend in, because we necessarily don't care about what other people think or what other people feel about us. The most important person to ourselves is ourselves. See, the thing is, we want to create our world within this world that establishes a reflection upon our souls. And the thing about being a poor righteous teacher is that you do have the riches that you want to share with the world, but the problem with people in the world is that they have a poverty consciousness, a poverty mindset and disposition. And this goes to show you how much our educational system has failed us. And the convenience of technology has warped our senses into being too lazy to think or figure things out. So this leaves you in a place and in a space to where as though you're bored with knowledge. You know, leaves you in a place to where as though you're undefeated and underrated. But your train of thoughts and expression is consistent and persistent. You know, one thing I can actually look at and say, you know, at the end of the day, that saying is true. Imitation is the best form of flattery. You know, although I don't necessarily like to be flattered or hearing a watered down version of myself in someone else, but this is the, I guess, the consequences thereof. And that's essentially what things are. You know, when you look at your path and where you want to go with your channel, you're met at a fork in the road. Is either you do the sellout thing and hop on panels with people you necessarily don't agree with, and you see them. And that's one thing about being an introvert. You're very intuitive. You can pick up on people. You hear who they are and see who they are before they even say anything or do anything. It's like you just know their move. You know their agenda. And that's another thing that I pioneered. You know, was actually defining what energy is and what vibration is and many other things. And it's been watered down in the mouths of others. The same mouths that curse me I noticed the crumbs on my table on their lips. They curse me with the same lips that have my food particles on it, something that I cooked up. That's when you know the world around you is grossly narcissistic, grossly immoral, and sick. And plus, for me, I've gotten to a place where I understand that one verse, do not cast your pearls before swine. Now, your pearls is not just the riches of your mind, but it's the riches of you. Your essence, your presence, and your validation stamps. As far as my validation stamps go, is really like a handful of people that I actually give it to. And as things are progressing, I really kind of keep that to myself. I'm going to bring those people on, to my panel to talk about this thing of ours that we have, this sound that is identical to none. As I said before, a man that is walking in his truth, his path is much smoother. But when you're walking in a lie, your path is very grievous to say, because there's no inner peace, there's no inner rest, there's no enduring happiness. On my end is the complete opposite, because I can just get up and just talk. I can recall something that just happened or happened before, then record. Because my vehicle doesn't run on gas, doesn't run on gimmicks. My vehicle runs on light. I go outside and tap into the source, come back, and provide you with something to meditate on, think over, and reflect. As I say, as a man thinketh, so is he. So I want to provide you with something to think about. Provide you with something that you can feel. And decode that experience within yourself and find the process rather healing. As I said before, certain conversations are like aromatherapy. And when you're centered, as a man, your dialogue can almost be as though it's like aloe. It's calming to the senses. your vibe can soothe out the anxiety, can help people to let go of their personal guilt and shame, and help people to confront things that scare them and give them the fortitude to face it. The wonderful thing is to look in the mirror and actually see your own soul. Like Scarface said, the only thing I have in this world is my word and my balls. And I don't break them for anybody. Although I'm young, I come from an era to where as though that was the way of life. I come from that era to where as though you had to have basically had yourself established in that thing in order to speak on that. And that is the joy right there, is being exactly as I am. When you're speaking in reality and not a fantasy, your life is pleasant. Your life can really be blissful. I want to give you a second to think over what I'm communicating to you and understand certain things. And that's the importance of being a certain way. Now, when you mature mentally, you know what to do for people versus only knowing what to do to people. That's the complications of most people living in a facade. Because it's very simple, but yet people make things complex because their objective is to get over, to have a competitive edge or an advantage. See, if we're both playing defense, then how is anyone scoring? If we're both playing defense, then how does anyone score? Now, how do you gather yourself to the point to where as though you know how much of yourself that you are supposed to facilitate in the moment. A lot of this comes from that quiet time. See, a lot of people think that meditation is based off of emptying your mind and blocking out things, but really you're in that quiet time and you're dealing with that light that is inside of you. Because, you know, a lot of cases, I don't know if you struggle with this, and this is the reason why I spend a lot of time in solitude, is because I have too much light. And I need to sit in that quiet space to have that light deal with the darkness inside of me. A lot of people think it's just really just, oh no, you just gotta release your mind and, you know, not think about anything. No, the key is you think from those things because you have your light dealing with that. And what is that light symbolic to? It's a consuming fire. It's truth. It's passion. It's revelation. Dealing with the parts of you that you don't want to deal with. Dealing with that ghost that you're trying to avoid. Most of us are playing Pac-Man in real life, getting chased by that ghost. And that ghost is our shadow self. That ghost is, you know, that secret or that shameful moment in your life that you don't want anyone else to know about. See, sitting in that quiet space and dealing with that is where the healing begins. Me personally, I don't have anything to be ashamed about in my life because I never claimed to be anything other than Ice Turner. My name wasn't given to me by a fantasy or an idea from someone else. It was given to me based on my impression, my continual impression upon others. I never really thought of it as anything. I just looked at things as though I'm just making a decision, the right decision, separating, you know, my emotions from those decisions. Because it was all about making the right choice in that moment. You know, sometimes you have to sacrifice a pawn or two to win the game. Sometimes the hardest thing to do is the right thing. Almost someone that is more results-oriented than people-oriented, per se. Not saying I don't care about people. I just don't care about how you feel about me. In that moment, if I'm doing something that I believe that is right and is just and is exact, then that's what it's going to be. It's like Kenny Rogers said, you gotta know when to hold them. You gotta know when to fold them. You gotta know when to walk away. See, because everything around you will change, but the knowledge of who you are, the branches of ideas that you discovered will always remain. People around you will change, but the root of who you are, the awareness of yourself will always remain. Situations will always change, but the fruit, your action, will always remain. In fact, you'll produce even better fruit. Once you've allowed the dead branches, the dead leaves to die off of you. I just gave you 2 keys to not only self-preservation, but to evolution. Spending more time in solitude to find you, and really it's actually 3, because once you found you, you stand on that principle, right? And you allow the dead things that no longer represent you to fall by the wayside. Something to really think about though, right? Something to reflect on. The key to your manhood is standing on that square, because you were born on that square. And not allowing anything, anyone to manipulate your wisdom, manipulate your awareness of who you are, what you're about, and what you're doing. You know, people doubt God. So why would you expect them not to doubt you? People question God. Why would you expect them not to question you? Aren't you made in His image and in His likeness? And in His light? Aren't you filled, shaped, and formed in His Spirit? So really the only person's voice that matters is His. He knows the number of hair that you have on your head. He's made you fearfully and wonderfully made. But when you're walking in your truth, you are fearfully and wonderfully made, because people see your brilliance and they see your they see you as a threat. It's like what I've discussed before about the wise as a serpent. It's an animal that people are fascinated with, but yet afraid of at the same time. So it's respected. And that's exactly what respect is. You know when people respect you when you have that double-edged sword effect. Not necessarily a monster or anything of that magnitude, but you are someone that is genuine, someone that is centered, someone that is walking in the truth and not talking outside of that square. That makes you a total threat. See, an intelligent, melanated man that is true to himself and real with his expression is not only a threat to the Caucasoids, but a threat to the Ebonites. See, for me, it's not really just my intelligence, it's my level of consciousness. See, there's different levels in your state of consciousness. That's why there's 7 dimensions in the spirit, which is like with the crown chakra. You know, Jesus or Yahshua fluctuated in those 7 dimensions of the spirit. And he's given you the same gifting and ability. It's just, will you rise above your folly? Will you rise above your facade? Will you rise above your foolishness? Will you rise above your lie? Will you rise above your subconscious? Will you stand on the sea of that and walk? Or will you be like Peter, just being afraid? So yeah, there's these weak nets, and you know the philosophy of the wind and the emotions of others beating at me and beating at my ark of safety. I remain resting in that boat. Because the Christos inside of me is regenerating my perspective of certain things, of having peace within myself, peace within my boat. And that's where the potency of my conversation lies. See, many people can see me perform a magic trick and get so inspired by it that they want to try it themselves, but it's not really in them. See, that's what they mean by, as far as, imitation being flattering, because it can only perform a weaker version of you, and you can still do you. And they can't beat you at being you. The only way that they can compete with you is by imitating you. That's something that's pretty common to me. Although I still marvel at it. It's something that even when, I was in junior high to this point, I wear a certain type of garment and a certain style, and we see people wearing the same things the next semester. I've seen it in junior high, I've seen it in high school, I've seen it in college. I've seen it when moving around the neighborhood. I've seen it when I was moving around in the bars, the clubs, everything like that. Imitation is flattering because you have, and you instinctively function in the law of influence, and you have the power to change people's God. Before, their God was their jealousy. Their God was their fantasy. Now, their God is you. A lot of people's God isn't the most high. Most people's God is their narcissism, their greed, their shame, and their vileness. Other stuff. See, my God is the one that created me to basically appear as Him on earth. Once I acquired the knowledge and once I came to the awareness, I started building the inner patriarch inside of me. And I only boast about the things that God has shown me, not my stats, not my money, not my material success. I don't place my confidence in something that can easily be taken away. I don't even place my confidence in my level of intelligence, because I can easily get dementia. And then where am I at this point? I place my confidence in my relationship with God and me striving to bring myself to Him as far as my honesty. Certain things I bring to Him. So you know what? I did that. I'm gonna say that I didn't slip. I wanted to do that. I wanted to say that to that person. And I enjoyed it.